Alright, welcome back to the channel, and tonight we're working on the Zuul body. We got an idea for a paint job that's going to be pretty unique. The backstory is we got a little inspiration last week. My buddy Eric that owns this truck, he sent an email out to Team Associated once we got it built and this body on it. There's not any or many comp foxes built with the Zuul body on them yet, and so we're going to do something pretty cool with this one. He reached out to Team Associated, sent them a couple of pictures of the progress, and actually got a response. But we actually got a response from Richard Saxton, Mr. Gas Truck himself. So I think we're going to throw a Richard Saxton inspired paint job on the Zuul. Nobody paints their crawlers like race cars, but we're going to be a little bit different. Do a little mini truck style here. So we're going to think outside the box. I got this 1997 RC Car Action magazine. It just so happens to have Richard Saxton's winning gas truck in there. And there's what we're going for. Pretty simple design. His paint jobs evolved after this. They got a lot more complex. But this one here is actually relatively simple. It's mostly fine line tape, which I do a lot of if you haven't noticed. And I did already get a head start on you. I got some of it laid out. I didn't have my mic on, so I got to redo it here. So we got this side laid out kind of roughly. We got our two stripes. This right here is 1/4 inch fine line. We just did in the middle just for spacing. That's going to come back out. These will be the two faded stripes, which are those right there. Might be able to see it better on the cover of the magazine. Those two faded stripes. Easily enough outlined in silver. This magazine is pretty faded. That's actually orange fading into yellow to white, and then the truck itself has just a very faint, a little bit of orange in the hood. So first things first, we're laying out these side stripes. Once we get the sides out, we'll cut them in half, and we got to find our center point in the hood, which is super easy with this body because there is a molded in kind of a ridge or a molding in the roof or the hood, and there's your for sure center point. So all we got to do is cross over our fine line on that point, and we'll lay out the other side. Here's a little time lapse of doing this side, and then once we come back, we just got to lay out the hood and we'll be ready to spray. All right, we got our sides laid out. Pretty simple design. Now for the hood design, we're going to come up. I'm looking for reference points on the body, like the hood, the door gaps, anything that I can mimic on side to side without having to do a whole lot of measuring. Just kind of eyeballing it as long as it's close. So we're going to go off the very corner of the door here and just maybe 3 millimeters off the edge of the hood where the hood ends. And then we'll try to make that to a point, and then we'll come back and add our second little point here, the center section, which is that little protrusion right there. So we're going to come to a point, and then we got to make another point in the middle. So not real complex, but again, it has to be somewhat symmetrical because it's kind of hard to hide any kind of flaws in there. It might be a little bit off since we are mostly eyeballing it, but you got to be pretty close to not be too obvious. So I'm going to lay this hood out right quick. Well, not right quick. I wish it was quick. We'll lay the hood out, and once we get the hood laid out, we're ready to spray some paint. All right, I don't know if this is a very good camera angle, but it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and go all the way across the hood up until about roughly just a little less than 1/8 of an inch from the edge of the hood line. And then we'll just go straight from there. Simple enough. I'm going to trim it on the running board here. On the fender flare / running board. Careful not to score the body again because it's That is a weak spot that could get cracked. All right, there's our one line, and now we just got to find the center point right off of our center line here, and that's where we want our tape to cross over equally, and they will naturally make a point and they cross over each other through that center line right there. A lot of eyeballing here, a lot of guesswork. Basically, X marks the spot. Really close, but not close. I could make an entire video just taping, and that wouldn't be entertaining at all, but because people want to see that finished product. And I get it, I do too. All right, we are nearly centered. You can see the X marks the spot where it crosses over. That's our center point. Tape gets a little unruly here. And then we're just eyeballing the rest of it. We're going to go back to about 1/8 inch from that body line, assuming that the body is symmetrical. And we ended up cutting a little bit more of the door off than I originally anticipated. Same deal, trim with trim on the bottom. All right, there's our center point. I'm going to trim that just to get it out of our way. We're going to end up cutting into that at some point. All right, see how our line is nearly in the center. It might be off just, I mean, it's really close. It's going to be so hard to miss that or to see that. But that's not our paint line. We actually got to come down here and do this little jutted out part. So we got to do the same thing again with this angle here. We're going to cross over on the center of this body line. Once we get that done, we just got to get equal tape going this way. Then we can cut the center out, and that'll leave us something like that. So I'm going to hop off and do that right quick. Same premise. Lay the tape out, get your center point, and then once we get that done, we are about ready to spray some purple. That'll be the first color, so stick around. All right, I cheated a little bit. I used tools. I used a measuring device here. I used my calipers, and I got to measure my gap here, and we got it pretty much on the money. And that's how we ended up with our center point here. So now we just got to measure off of this. I'm going to measure off this outside body line, and that'll get us our straight line. Yeah, approximately however far out I go is going to give us that little hood scoop effect, or that stripe in the center of the hood. That one. So all this is kind of making it work with this body because there's nothing to measure off of really as far as comparing it to the real one. We're just kind of trying to get the look. We're not trying to do it accurate. Exactly, you're not going to do a representation of it because it's the wrong body. So that's enough tongue twisting there. So I'm going to eyeball how wide I want this, and then I'll mark it on here, and that way it won't be near as much guesswork. All right, we're really close right there. That's going to send our stripe right through the body mounts, which is fine. Yeah, I hate to break it up like that, but it's just the fact that on the GT body, the body posts are way up front. It's just the way it works. If we didn't have clips on this body, it'd be a lot cleaner. But there's our two lines. We're just going to go straight off of that. And then we can cut all this excess off. And then tape this center up. We'll cut that center out too. because we're going to have our center point's going to be this. All this will be part of the yellow, and the remainder of this will be purple. So I'm going to lay these 2 stripes on, tape it up, cut the gaps out, and then we'll spray some purple paint. All right, we got it all masked up. Just use some masking paper back here, just not to have to cover this body with tape. If you're using liquid mask, you wouldn't have that problem. I did the running boards in blue tape, just regular old painter's tape. That just helps me visually know to leave it on there, because we're going to paint the running boards black. There's not much of a running board. It's only like 3 inches long, maybe 2.5. So just to keep that separated and add a little bit of detail, we're going to leave those and paint them black. But right there is our purple section. We're going to come in with a little bit of black and do a drop shadow around it, just to add a little depth to it. Since we got an airbrush, we're going to use it. This body comes with a lot of decals and trim for the windows and everything, but for some reason I didn't see a grill unless it's molded. Oh, it's got a molded grill. So we don't have to worry about painting the grill. We're going to put the molded grill in it. And if anything, we might need to leave these lenses clear so we can do, if we ever add lights, we'll have that option. Yeah, so let's go spray some black and purple. All right, I forgot to hit record. What we did here, we just sprayed right on the edge of the fine line. We'll go back and add a little bit more to it, since I forgot to hit the button. That's what I get for trying to rush. We're just going around the outer edge of the fine line tape here. We don't necessarily want to paint it black. We just want to add a little depth to this purple. We're going to make it look candy-like. Oh yeah, that's good. Don't take much. Just a little bit of depth there. It looks kind of hard to tell what's one of the effect we're going for, but until we get that purple on there and we get this film off. But sorry about all that noise. Up next, we're going to go ahead and spray our purple. I'm going to back this purple using Fast Essence Purple. It's old school Parma. And we're going to back it with silver to give it a little bit more pop. So anyways, let's spray some purple. All right, we got our brush loaded up with some Fast Essence Purple here. This cover's pretty good, but you got to be careful. If you don't get it quite covered, it does have some splotchiness to it. It can once you back it with some silver. So we're going to try to go for even coverage, but several coats. It's going to take a few. We'll let it dry between coats, and away we go. There you go. That's one light coat. Starting to see it a little bit. I'm going to get this dry. We'll come back, put a couple more on it, and then once that's dry, we'll back it up with silver, and then on to the next step. All right, guys, we got our purple on. We got it backed up with silver, just a light coat. Going forward, you got to trust the process. There's going to be a lot of back and forth to get these orange and the body white, and to get this orange and yellow and the body white. So we got to pull out a little bit of tricks here to make this seemingly simple paint scheme work. But you got to trust the process, and it'll look cool when it's all said and done. But that's all we're going to do for tonight. The magic of editing, it will be tomorrow, and we'll start spraying these colors. So stick around. All right, guys, it's the next day. We're back. We're about to add the colors to the paint job. This gets a little bit complicated because we're going to have to go back and forth to get these stripes in. So we'll explain that as we go. But first things first, I'm going to blow a little bit of fluorescent orange right here, just a little bit of fade. And then we're going to carry a yellow out over this stripe on the side here. And once we got that done, we'll go ahead and spray our white. And then we'll have to go through a process to get this stripe on. So let's go ahead and get this orange on, and then we'll proceed. All right, same thing here. We're going to go really light around the fine line. Not trying to get too crazy with it. Let our air pressure calm down a little bit. All right, we got one coat on there. I'm going to dry this and put one more, just a little bit along this front edge here, and then we'll go straight into yellow. All right, like I've done in the past, I'm not getting this completely dry before we go to the yellow. Hitting this, the first coat of yellow on there, while that's still just a little bit wet, will help this blend. They will kind of merge together. You don't want to do it when it's wet, but you will do it while it's still not 100%. It will kind of melt together. Give you a more seamless blend. All right, that's one coat. That orange and that yellow should blend together really naturally. And we're going to get this dry. We'll put one more coat on, then we'll back everything with white, and then we'll proceed with these stripes here. All right, we got all of our yellow on there. We carried our blend out a little bit halfway through the door and about 3/4 of the hood. Now we're just going to go ahead and back everything with white, and that will get us one step closer. After that, we have to back this with gray because we're getting ready to spray orange back over it. And in the hopes this don't all bleed together and make mud. All right, we got one coat of white on there. We're going to take our time, get it dry. We want to make sure it's 100% dry before we start trying to spray another color over it. And fingers crossed it don't bleed, because it will have the tendency to do that when you use waterborne. And the only reason why I hadn't gone back to my spray can like a lot of times I do with the white is seeing how we're trying to do this all in one night. I don't have time to, well, it's 2 nights actually, but I don't have time to make sure it's 100% dry tonight. We're going to risk it and use all waterborne, because if this water is not 100% dry and you put spray paint over it, it will have a tendency to tear when you take your tape off. So it works, but it's got to be 100% dry, and I don't want to take a chance trying to do this in one evening. So we're going to roll the dice. Hope this works. So stay tuned. We're going to go ahead and spray our rest of our white on there, and once we got that on there, we'll have to back it with gray because we're going to spray orange in these stripes here. So stay tuned for that. All right, guys, we got the got our gray on there. We didn't carry it all the way back. I'll explain that. We got our stripes pulled out. Now these stripes, this is where a little trickery has to come into play. These stripes on the actual truck, they go from orange to yellow and they fade off into white, into nothingness. This is just the way my brain works, how to get this accomplished. We're going to do our orange and yellow. We're going to try not to carry too much color back here. Only color is going to be the stripes. So we're going to try to keep the orange and the yellow somewhat contained, maybe right onto the bed so it don't look like the bed's just chopped off. We don't want to get any color back here. We want to leave this open because we're going to come back and we're going to spray the white. And in theory, they should match and be in a solid color. I wouldn't try this with silver or anything because it might, you'll see the line. And if we do see it, we'll get creative with stickers and cover it up. But either way, in theory, we need to stay away from this area at the end of the bed with color. So we're going to try to blend this way and not let it blow back here too much, because you got to get your air pressure down pretty low too, so you don't want to get a bunch of overspray floating around in the body. It's pretty tight quarters in there, so it shouldn't go up there. But I mean, and if you tape it off at this point, even if I put paper over this part, you might see a hard line where the color ends, and then you'll see that more so than you would a little bit of color back here. There might be a better way or easier way to do this, but that's how I figured it out. So on with the orange again. All right, I got my air pressure bumped down. No, I don't know a number on the number of PSIs I'm running here. I just kind of go by ear and feel. If I had to guess, we're probably around 10 pounds. You want to keep the air pressure low. In the body shop world, this helps with transfer efficiency. Instead of blowing the paint up in the air, it kind of blows it on the surface. You got to be careful with that, because if it's not atomizing enough, as in breaking the paint up, then it's going to get blotchy. Like so. Kind of see the action we got going there. It's going to take a couple of coats because I want to do this lightly. That's good for one. Can barely even see it. The light shining through it. It looks like I didn't do anything. But I'm going to dry this up. We're going to hit it one more time. And then, like I said, we're going to carry the yellow a little bit further. Trying to leave a little bit of gap in the middle where it's not covered, so it'll look like it's got that fade. So let me get this dry. We'll come right back with the yellow. All right, we got a second coat of orange on there. We carried it back about to the end of the door, just a little bit of fade there. So we're going to carry our yellow just past it, doing the same thing. We're just going to follow the fine line tape, trying to stay away from this area again. We don't want to get too much color back here. We don't want any if possible, but if a little bit, we'll be okay. It's a little tricky around this truck bed because the bed gets narrower. So you're kind of painting uphill a little bit on the inside out. There's our little bit of overspray onto the bed. We're still safe over here. And do it again. All right, that's basically one coat. I'm going to dry this right quick with the hair dryer, blowing across it, not directly on it. Get the water out, and then one more coat of yellow, and then we'll proceed with the white, and then we are real close to wrapping this thing up. All right, we got all of our yellow on. I think we were pretty safe. We got about right here with a little bit of dust. Back here is where we have to match the paint. So I think we'll be okay. These silver stripes that are silver on the body, they don't go all the way to the end of the body either, so we're going to do a little something there too. But anyways, we'll go ahead and back this up with white, and then we'll proceed to paint our stripes, and then we'll be almost done, minus the bed. Gonna turn the air pressure back up. Oh yeah, that's going to work out. All right, there's where we fade into nothing. We still got to put another coat on there. You can still see it a little bit, but it's almost seamless after one coat. This has got like 3 coats of white on it. So when we get this dry, and then we'll pull all this tape out and we'll start spraying our pinstripes. All right, guys, we got the first set of fine lines pulled out. What I mean by first set, we're going to do 2 different colors. His truck, everything is silver, but with this thing being the Cotton Fox, it's got a lot of bronze and copper stuff on it. And to keep with that theme, we're going to go with this gold. It's not necessarily in the same family, but it's a little more than silver because we got a goldish looking wheel on the truck. And we're going to do gold and silver. We're going to continue the silver on the side just to give it a little bit, just to add another color to it. And once we peeled that out, we had a couple little places where tape overlapped that had a little blow through, and a handy little cuticle cleaner like picked up at Target. I think a pack of them is like $2. And if you're using water-based especially, you just go in and round off your edges a little bit and clean everything up. So we'll go ahead and spray this gold. Once we got the gold done, we got to clean up a couple places here where these door hinges and stuff are and the door gaps. A little bit of blow through there, and simply enough just go there and clean it up a little bit, and it rubs right off with the waterborne paint. And once we got that done, we're spraying the bed and we're doing an unveil. All right, if you're curious about the gold, it's just Wicked Gold. Picked it up at Hobby Lobby, 0350. It doesn't cover real well, so you do have to back it up. So we're going to do a kind of a 2 process here. We're going to do the gold, then spray the silver. We can back the gold with silver, so it'll kind of work together. If you put enough of this gold on there to get it covered, you got too much paint on there. So there's our gold stripe. Looks pretty cool with the purple. So let me get that dry. We'll peel these out, and then we'll spray the silver. All right, we got our silver on there. We used Wicked Silver. It's kind of a darker silver, kind of grayish color. It's not quite gray, but anyway, we got 1 coat on there. We're going to get this dry, and once we get that dry, we'll peel the bed out and spray the bed. I'm not going to show you painting the bed. It's just spraying black paint, and we'll spray the 2 running boards. So once we get that done, we'll meet you in the studio, and we'll do a little unveil. All right, guys, here we go. We got all of our black sprayed. We got our bed and our running boards. Got everything backed up with the gray again. That's just a mixture of black and white. But I hope you didn't fast forward to the good part, but we're about to unveil this thing. And always the most satisfying part of painting the body is peeling this film off and revealing all of your hard work. Because it really pops when you get all this stuff off. And this bed has a lot of features. There it is, Kapowie. There's our Richard Saxton inspired Zuul body for the Element Comp Fox. There's where we ended our paint. As I told you there towards the end, you shouldn't see a transition at all between the white and where we had the gap right there. So there's your close-up of that. And let's compare it to the magazine. Yep, I think we hit it pretty good. There's the truck where my thumb's at, not the blue one. I think we hit it pretty good. All right, guys, that's a wrap. We're going to throw the grill in it, a couple stickers. We got all this stuff that came with the body. And again, appreciate it. Hit that like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think. I think it's pretty cool, actually. And if you want to help support the channel a little bit more, you can hit that join button. We do a little bit of behind the scenes and some early release on the videos, if possible, because a lot of times I'm filming these the day before. And actually, it's Tuesday night, and we're working on Wednesday video. So we squeezed another one out, and there it is. Check it out.